of course, Alden Davis is here this morning. And while I go through the donuts, why don't you just go ahead and tell us what we're going to be doing here today?
Well, today is the first of a series based on my new book titled The Principled Employee, which is the companion to The Principled Supervisor.
This is your book?
Yeah, right.
You wrote a book?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great little books.
Cool.
Great little books. In our continuing pursuit of competitive businesses, a healthy relationship must exist between the manager and the employee. How do you help yourself and the business be successful? Well, get today's homework assignment at myvaluetree.com, grab a donut, and be here right after Weather and Sports.
Thank you for these fine Luke's donuts. A nice selection here. We got a frosted glaze. We got a cake donut or two. We got one of the deadly apple ones. Is that the maple? Is that the deadly maple?
There's the deadly maple.
The Wiley maple. That thing is just, ooh, man, all right. Well, thanks
always a treat here at the clubhouse.
Absolutely. 7:13. Let's take the break, come back. Scott has morning sports, and then we'll go to Skay. Alden Davis is here. Time for today's. You're looking very perky today. Are you wired on these donuts? Is this what's going on here?
No, it's great to be here. It's great Saturday morning. It's beautiful outside.
Just to kind of help you deal with the situation as it is. There are things you can do. That's why we do this, and here's Alden.
Give ourselves an edge. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Well, welcome to our Saturday morning coaching session, helping us thrive in uncertain times with Star Power. Today, we begin a series on my new book titled The Principled Employee. For businesses to be successful, we need a balanced relationship between the role called employee and the role called manager, understanding that at some level we're all employees. I'm offering 4 principles to guide you and increase personal success. The principles are not written as rules, but rather as a way to understand of what to be mindful as you go through the day. Principle number 1, to acknowledge the fact that there is a system defining the world in which I work, in a way that I can comply, yet be flexible to adapt to changes in the system over time. How come the president has a reserved parking space and doesn't have to park in the lot like the rest of us, gripes a new employee?
Yeah.
Well, the answer is simple. He's the president. With rank goes privilege. There is a group of people in the workforce today who struggle with this notion that a hierarchy of power exists, and some people receive special treatment. Does this make them a better person than you? No, but it does mean they have achieved a different status than you. Just because you got into the organization, it does not mean you are on equal standing with everyone else. Just because you can directly email the senior people, it does not mean you are on a first-name basis with them or in their circle. This principle is offered because many people entering the workforce struggle with the concept of authority, power, hierarchy, and differentiation. We all fit into a system at work, a governance or regulatory process, be it a small owner-run business or a large multinational corporation, trade association, or global nonprofit. All these organizations require governance or a system by which they work. Sometimes it is a much defined system, as in the military, and other times it is more informal. But in all cases, a system exists. Job number 1 entering the work world is to acknowledge this reality and choose to submit to it. You choose to pick up the straitjacket and put it on. People who understand this reality get with the program faster, are assimilated more quickly, and get on with their career. Does assimilated feel harsh? Does it mean, does it seem like personal identity is being lost in the transaction? Well, this is the nature of work. It's not about you. It's about the work. It is about the accomplishment of tasks and someone's willingness to pay for them. In this world of work, there are winners and losers. People who advance and people who do not. People of power and people of little influence. People who make a lot of money and people who make little. Do you like playing any kind of game? Board game, card game, athletic games? Well, step 1 is learning the rules. As the rules are mastered, so is the game. View the work world as a large game, and your first task is to learn the rules and master them. Do not argue with the rules. Do not try to change the rules. Do not grouse about the rules. Just learn them. The rules were never neatly presented to me over the course of my career. I learned them through trial and error and sometimes through the guidance of a sympathetic person. 30 years in, and I still run aground sometimes when it comes to issues involving ego and politics. Mastery of the game at this level really is art. The first and foremost system to which to be aware is the legal environment within which the organization is operating. The legal structure of the organization plays a major role in how the organization runs. Without going into the details of an LLC or a public corporation, they all have in common a structure of accountability. Who can legally bind the organization with a contract? Who can borrow money? Who will watch out for the integrity of the business are all described in the company's bylaws. By definition, there is a difference between the chairs people sit in. As the organization grows, the accountability is divided into smaller pieces and distributed to other people. People who represent this legal side of the organization are called management, and they serve a specific function of it being its representative. By legal structure, these people have power over you. With power comes the accountability for results, and this ties right into a person's tolerance for risk and variation. If a person has a low tolerance for risk, the organization becomes highly structured and managed with lots of checks and balances. If a person has high tolerance for risk, there is less organizational structure and a more freewheeling attitude and less control. The system that grows around the structure is part of the organization's culture. Being able to crack the culture code by design can greatly aid a person coming into a new organization and reduce the chance of creating inadvertent negative impressions. Culture is experienced. It is the selected behaviors of a group of people reinforced by physical items. This is your homework assignment for next week. Get the culture model at myvaluetree.com and begin filling it in. I do this every country I go to. A lot of states I go to. It can become an invaluable decoder for your success. These are our days. Shine brightly. I'm Coach Davis.
Thanks, Coach.